Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Deal Scout. On today's show, we're going to have a conversation with a guy across the pond, across the world from Sydney. Welcome to the show, good sir.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us, who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Ari Galper, and I specialize in a unique field called trust-based selling. And I've been in this space for the last 20 years, kind of leading the charge on how to build deep trust in the sales process. So you don't have to chase deals, chase people, chase ghosts, and play that sales game everybody hates so much. So it's going to hopefully today's going to be very cathartic for people who are in that mode, chasing these people who never call them back.
Very cool. So this is going to be great for our community of deal makers. Like this show, all we talk about are people and deals. And, I love God, family, and deals. Like, so if all I get to do is hang out with people, do some cool deals, then I have the dream of this world, right? Like I love my job. So in my job as a deal maker, sales is crucial, right? And so I would love to hear your thoughts on how you got into this world of, writing books and teaching this to the world. So kind of walk us through your story. Let us hear how you got started in this.
Sure. So about 20 years ago, I was a sales manager in a software company, and I managed about 18 sales people underneath me. And we launched the first online website tracking tools. Now it's called Google Analytics. You probably heard of that, but it was actually free back then. We launched that a while ago. And I was in charge of the big opportunities that came across the company's lead flow. And this one deal came across our company, got to me. I called the lead back, and huge opportunity, big company, nice guy. He's like, "Hey, Ari, I'd love to see a demo." I was like, "Great." So we scheduled a call to show them a live demo. And if I close this one sale, it would double the revenue of the company in one transaction. That's how big it was. It was huge. So the day finally came, Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock. 4 o'clock, and I'm in the conference room with my CEO. I closed the door behind me. There's a big long conference table in front of us. On the table is the old school speakerphones, the three legs on it, Star Trek. And I dial the dial tone, hit the speakerphone on, and dial the number. He's like, "Hey, Ari, how's it going?" I said, "Good, good." And he's like, "Great, let us tell you who's on the line with us today." And I was like, "Oh, didn't realize there's anybody else there." Next thing I hear is, "My name's Mike, I'm CEO." I'm like, "Oh, this is good." "My name's John, I'm head of global IT." This is even better. "My name is Julie, I'm head of marketing." Oh, perfect. I mean, everybody on this call, they were all decision makers. Like, if it's going to happen on this deal, it's going to happen now. They are all there. So I was like, "Oh, this is really good." So I introduced myself to everyone, explained what we do. Then we logged in and gave a live demo of our product on one of their websites. We collected ahead of time to show them what it looks like to log in and see this stuff in real time. This is like 20 years ago. And so they're logging in, and I'm showing this to them and walking them through everything. And I started this noise on the phone call, like, "Wow, this is great. This is amazing." They started asking me all kinds of questions. How does it work? How do we install it? What's technology behind it? Who are your clients? And of course, I had all the answers. I was competent technically. I was a student of sales at the time. I had books in my shelves at home I was reading. I went to the seminars with the gurus, the University on Wheels days. You put the CD in there, you just listen on your way to work, pre-podcasting. And so look, I wasn't aggressive. I was friendly. And there was so much chemistry on this phone call. It was like a love fest on the phone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, man, it feels good. Like you're a great storyteller, by the way. I'm captivated hearing you chat about this. Keep going. What happened?
I'll tell you, it was like no resistance. It was like, this is magical. Like it's perfect fit. And they're asking me all kinds of questions. I'm answering the answers, and they're excited. And the call goes by. An hour later, they're pumped up. They're like, "Ari, we love this." And at the end of the call, my guy's like, "Ari, this is great. Look, give us a call a couple of weeks, follow up with us, and we'll move this thing forward." I'm like, "Oh, thank you, God. This is like the dream come true." And I said my goodbyes. I took my arm and my hand, and I reached for the speakerphone. As I'm reaching for the off button, by a complete accident, I hit the mute button instead of the off button. They were like right next to each other, and I kind of hit the wrong button, and a small click happened, and they thought I hung up the phone. In that split second, a voice inside of me says, "Ari, go to the dark side. Be a fly in the wall. Go where no one's ever gone before in the world of sales." And I pulled my thumb back for a couple seconds. They started talking amongst themselves, thinking I had left the call.
There's an internal dilemma that just happens there, right, Ari?
Absolutely. And now this is not a trick question, but what do you suppose? What would you imagine they would have said after they thought I hung up the phone? What would you imagine after a call like that they'd be saying amongst themselves?
So, I mean, the skeptic in me or the critical person, they could be like, oh man, this is, we could do this on our own, like we could easily build this out, or it could go the other way. Hey, this is great. Let's undercut this. So let's see how cheap we could do it. Or, hey, we're about to roll out this product. He just told us their sales process.
Yeah, yeah. So you'd expect fairly positive things. I mean, it was an hour has gone by with amazing feedback. So I expected things like, hey, this is great. Let's discuss it. Like something positive I was hoping for. But let me tell you what I heard word for word.
Yeah.
They said this. They said, and I know I'll never forget, that's why we're all here today. They said, we're not going to go with him. Keep using him for more information and make sure we shop someplace else cheaper.
Whew.
Knife in heart twist. I was, Josh, in a state of shock. I was like, what? After all that? And I kind of hit the off button, looked at the wall. I said to myself, what did I do wrong? I was competent. I was enthusiastic. I was passionate. I had all the answers. I did everything I was supposed to do to make something happen in the sales arena, in the sales book. By the book, man, it was right on. And I asked myself this question, and I realized this. It has become socially acceptable not to tell the truth to people who sell, right? Yeah. It's okay to say things like, sounds good. Yeah, send me information. Oh, we're definitely interested. Hold on. Send us a what? A proposal without any intention of executing. I was like, what is going on here? And then I asked myself, why were they afraid to just tell me the truth? I'd be okay with that. And I realized what's going on out there is there's a game going on, this visible river pressure that flows underneath every chat you have with a potential prospect or client. And if you don't remove that pressure from the process so they can feel from you or in that process underneath the conversation, they will always have their guard up. They'll only give you just enough, a few breadcrumbs to get you excited, but they'll never tell you the truth. And I realized that I can shift that whole mindset away from the end goal of the sale and focus on deep trust building and building what I call a bubble of vulnerability, where they feel comfortable opening up to you and telling you the truth, then you can crack the code in this thing and really double all your results. So that became my whole premise behind Unlock the Game.
Oh, see, that's interesting. So let's do confession time, right? So we're in a confessional booth and I get to come in. I go, bless me for I've sinned, right? I don't even know what they say in those confessional booths, but I have done that. Being a sales guy, I hate when people do that to me. Just tell me, hey, Josh, too expensive. Nah, I don't trust you. You suck. Or, we're going with someone else. Like, be honest with me. That tire kicking. And I've done that. So I have a confession and I repent. I have done that to salespeople, even though I hate it when they do it to me.
Yeah, we do. Everyone does it because we are defensive and we have our guard up because we don't trust people who exude or use or exhibit any type of sales behaviors that everyone already hates.
Yeah.
And see, we're so conditioned from the 80s to do typical sales stuff, which we'll talk about today, that we're unconsciously unaware of, that causes us to be connected to that stereotype. And it'll blow people away when I share some of those insights today. They're like, oh my God. And it's amazing how we're sleepwalking right now through these deals and sales, thinking that we're trying to pursue something and chasing ghosts who never call us back. We're like, what's going on here?
Yeah. I'll tell you, oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm a sales guy. I love sales. I think it's like it energizes me. It's fun. You're doing something together. You're creating a partnership. So like a lot of people don't like sales. I love sales, right? It's fun for me. It's a game, it's an adventure, it's a relationship. It's what I was built to do. But there's still this this distaste that I have in my mouth sometimes when it's not done right, whether I'm doing it or someone's doing it to me, and it grosses me out. And it's probably what you're going to share, the typical stuff from the 80s that you've seen. Like pull back the veil, let us see what you see.
Sure. So look, I think the best way to do this is to really clean the mental hard drive out and cover some of the core myths that I think a lot of us still carry with us over the years. Like one is, this is a classic one, you know this one pretty well, which is sales is a numbers game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because the more contacts you make, supposedly, the more sales you make. Well, we discovered in this economy now, it's not about how many contacts you make anymore. It's about how deep you go on each conversation, meaning how good you are at trust building, not how many contacts you're making. The other myth is this idea of the sales lost at the end of the process. And I'm sure you've been there before. You had a deal pending and it all looked good. Green light. At the end, it just like disappeared on you, like fell through. Like they're like, we're not going to move forward. You're like, what? Well, we discovered now the sales not lost anymore at the end of the process. It's now lost at the beginning, at hello. And I'll prove it to you right now in a fun way.
Yeah.
If someone calls your office tomorrow morning and you pick the phone and you hear, hi, my name is, I'm with, we are a, what goes through your mind in about 3 seconds?
Click.
It's over at hello. And I'm not suggesting your people are making outbound calls. Maybe they are, but I'll make the case today that most of your deals are being lost, not at the end of the process. They're being lost where?
In the beginning.
At the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
The best way to get a hang up from me, and I'm a nice guy. I love people. And every once in a while I'll listen to it because I feel bad, because I feel bad. That's the only reason I'm doing it. But I hate being cold called, even though some people would argue it works. Do you think cold calling works?
it works if you're not doing it the wrong way.
All right. Give us some more stuff from the 80s that doesn't work.
So the other one, the classic one is this one, that rejection is part of the game. If you can't take a no, if you're not thick-skinned, if you can't take a hit every once in a while, you're not made for success. You know, remember the old sales manager said, hey, get back out there. You can't take a no, get a few more yeses, you'll get some no. Like that whole thing is just so archaic because we discovered that rejection is triggered by certain things you do unconsciously that causes them to push back on you. We're the problem, not them. And I'm going to walk you through some of those today, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So this is how I handle rejection, and this probably isn't healthy, right? So if I'm working with a potential client, potential partner that I'm going to go hunt for and do some deals with, if they say no, and this might not be healthy, maybe it's a competitor to me, the first thing that goes through my head is, I'll just go work with your competitor then. I'll show you. Right. So maybe that's like the immature, like middle school boy in me just going, I'll show you, I'll go get your competitor and we'll do 10,000, 10 million deals or whatever. So is that a healthy way to?
That's the fight or flight reaction that most of us react to. There's middle ground there.
Yeah. All right. So keep walking us through, coach me. Because, I'm always trying to, I did the University on Wheels with Zig Ziglar back in the day, and I'm always trying to learn and grow. Kind of coach me as you coach our audience too.
Okay, so let me give you a couple like core examples of our core principles behind our system on trust-based selling. And one of them is this idea of always be diffusing pressure, taking pressure out of the sales process. Let me give you an example of this, because we developed our own body of work around what we call trust-based languaging. Words and phrases that replace sales scripts and make things more natural to build trust. Here's an example. Let's say on a phone call with a prospect, and your first call, great conversation, good chemistry, they could be a good fit with you, you're excited, and the call kind of comes to a close of your first call. What do we normally say to someone at the end of the call like that? It's not a trick question. What do you normally say to someone when the calls come to the end and it's looking good? And we say stuff like what? How about
let's schedule another call, or what's the next step?
Exactly. We are conditioned to move things where?
To the next step.
Forward towards a sale. That's how we've been taught to do things. But what happens if you try and move somebody forward in the beginning, they aren't ready yet? What do you break with them right there early in the process?
Trust.
Exactly. So same scenario, good chemistry, good opportunity, call comes to a close, our mindset and our languaging. Rather than saying, hey, how about we schedule a call, have a meeting, whatever, here's what we say. We say, where do you think we should go from here? And I'll say again, where do you think we should go from here?
So this is really good. I would love to, as we're doing this, and I think that this would be helpful for our fellow deal makers, I would love to share what I say, and then maybe you could help me craft it and make it better. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have some fun, right? We'll role play. So I typically go, hey, and I'm honest about this. Like, I don't know if this is going to work for you. I turned down a client the other day because I'm like, you're doing great. You don't need me. But I typically go, I don't know if this is going to be good for you. Let me just share some of the things that I do, and then you let me know which one you would want to explore more. So is that kind of the similar, or
Yeah, that's that work. If look, my concept is if things are working for you,
Mhm.
don't change.
Yeah,
The stuff that's not working for you is the stuff I can help you with, which is I'm chasing numbers, I'm chasing ghosts, they're not calling me back, where I'm wasting time on these calls. That's the kind of stuff we can fix. But if that
yeah,
sounds nice, that's the way you say it sounds beautiful. So keep
okay,
doing what you're doing there. But if you say to somebody, where do you think we should go from here?
I
They're
like that.
usually in a state of shock.
Yeah,
They can't believe somebody in business would actually ask them what they want to do. And when you say to them that they usually say things like, oh, I've got one more question. Or what about that? You know what comes out? The truth. And that is your goal with us. Your goal is the truth of their situation, not the end goal of the sale. When you get there with people and you're present, they just open up to you and it all comes out
yeah.
early on.
One of my coaches, he says, I'm not much, but I'm all I think about, right? And in this sale, the only thing I'm looking up at my board right now, and I have a goal, right? I have a deal board, huge board up on the wall, and I have a goal. So when I'm talking to someone and it's right in front of my eyes, even though I'm talking to them, I'm looking at my goal, right? Gosh darn it. I'm focused on me, not them.
Look, you can still be ambitious. You can
Yeah.
still have your goals. Never lose that. But you're not allowed to transfer that to them in the conversation.
I do that all the time.
Of course, and that's where you end up possibly playing a lot of the numbers game process where you're having lots of conversations. Some work out, some don't. See, in our world, our clients have 100% conversion over the phone of those people that are qualified and are their ideal fit. Meaning there's no next steps, there's no follow-ups, there's no, hey, I'll give you a call next week, let's have a chat. There's none of that sales stuff. You know, there's stuff like, remember the old school stuff like, you got to build a relationship with them. They got to like you and know you. And you know how we do that the first call? Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Where are you from? You know how we lay in kind of thick in the beginning with people?
Yeah.
And of course, they don't want to become your friend.
No.
They just want to solve their problem. But we're so used to this whole, hey, how's it going thing. And the problem with that is what I discovered is that relationship building and trust building are mutually exclusive. And I tell my clients, I know it sounds kind of crazy, I'm dropping a bomb right now, stop building relationships pre-sale. Instead, focus on clarity on what their problem is. Be the doctor, they're the patient. Help them get clarity on what their issue is, so by default, you become their solution, rather than laying in this whole, hey, how's it going thing. Because if you mix social norms and business norms together, what happens is you don't get compliance. That's why don't doctors be, I'm working on a new bumper sticker. You know, I actually got it right here.
Yeah, let's see it.
Prototype.
Doctors don't do coffee.
Doctors don't, hey, they don't look at you, doc, hey, how's it going? They don't try and build a relationship with you because they know that if they start to mix in this whole social thing, you won't comply with with the solution. So, right. So it's a mindset shift. I know it sounds radical because we've been taught this whole time to like build relationships. Well, they're fake anyways. They know it's fake. It's not a real relationship. It's like a spontaneous combustion when you meet someone, you know, and they're like, oh God, here we go again. So I'm just suggesting there are some nuances here. We can tone down a little bit to build authenticity where they feel that you actually care about them, not just your goal.
Wow. Create clarity and fix their problem.
Yeah, problem centricity is the core behind our trust-based selling model. Because see, we're so used to when we sense an opportunity in our environment, our instinct is, I can help them. Damn, this is perfect for me. Oh my God, they want to buy how many? And we jump right in and go, let me walk you through what I do. Let me show you what I've got. Let me give you a couple options. See, we're so instinctively dying to jump in and give our solution.
Yeah.
And the minute you do that prematurely, you've broken trust with them. Now they're going, okay, here comes the pitch. And now they're pulling back. Now, they won't tell you this, by the way. They'll say things you like this. They'll say, "This has been great. Let me think about this. Send me some information, and we'll talk next week." That's what they'll say to you. Oh no, let me. This is my favorite. Let me digest that. This sounds great. Let me.
Hey, that's what I use. I use that line. That is so good, man. You're reading my journal right now. Holy moly. Huh.
This is not just you, it's everyone out there right now who's been selling and influenced by the past, and they have defined selling in their own mind as enthusiasm, the numbers game, and just sort of pump yourself up. That's called what I call sales armor. So we put sales armor on around us when we go to work. So we get ready for battle. So we tee ourselves up a couple of notches up. We're ready for the battle. We're like, we're in there. Okay, I'm in the game. Come at me. And then all of a sudden people are defensive as well. And now it gets really, dysfunctional real fast.
Yeah. Huh. All right. So you're going to walk us, we're going to walk us through a little bit of your journal. Let's go back in time, right? So you and me jump into an old school DeLorean, right? And we go back in time, and you're sitting with the guy, the Ari, who's about to pitch this deal, right? So there's CEOs and all the people on the phone and the CEO, and you're like, "Hey, Ari, come here." And me, you, and the younger Ari get to have a chat before you pitch to the deal. What are you going to tell that guy?
So actually, that's funny, because what you're really trying to say is, and what people always ask me this question is, what would I do if I knew what I knew now 20 years ago on that conference call, where I got dumped and rejected?
Yeah.
It's the same concept. How would I have changed what would I've done differently, right?
Yeah, but I just want to, ride in a DeLorean with you too.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So there's the question. How would you do it?
So walk me through the scenario again.
All right, we go back in time in the DeLorean, and you're meeting you and your CEO, right? You're going to double your company's
revenue. This is the same.
Yeah, thing? But what would you do differently?
Okay, great. So the answer to that is, I never would have had the call. I wouldn't have gone to the meeting, because I would have known in advance what the agenda was and what the plan is, and I would have subjected myself to being shopped and rejected.
How do you do that?
You get to the truth of people at hello. You don't get caught up in the whole game and what I call hopium. You know what hopium is? It's that drug salespeople carry around where they get excited because they got an opportunity. Like, woohoo! I got the call, inbound Bluebird. Yeah, I might be ill for this month. We get so excited. Then we drive our car. We show up in the Zoom call. We're like, yep, let's get going. It's nice to meet you, everyone, today. Hey. And we're like, sales 101. We're like, oh. And then they're like, and you get this peak of a high. And just drops. You're like, what happened? We had a great meeting. There was so much chemistry. Oh my God, we're so perfect. We make assumptions along the way. So what we don't do is we don't diagnose their problem first and go down what I call the iceberg. The iceberg is a metaphor for you peeling the onion back and unpacking their problem, amplifying the issue, helping them get clear on the impact of not solving it, and then asking this core question. This is a very powerful, profound question. And here it is. The question is this: is this a priority for you to solve once and for all? Or is it something you have to live with the consequences over time? And I'm okay either way. You cannot provide your solution until they own their own problem. It's like a therapist and a patient. Yeah. If the patient doesn't own their own problem, man, they're the worst patients.
What about for the luxury world, right? So like problems, might not exist. It's like, hey, I'm looking at a Lamborghini, right? I'm buying a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. Like, I don't need to get to work because I have 4 cars in my garage or whatever, right? But I'm looking for a Lamborghini. Like, so let's just say you're that Lamborghini sales guy or gal. Like, what problem do I have?
The difference there is,
yeah,
the Lamborghini was pre-sold. They're already coming in and they're salivating over that car. That's a whole different world than someone coming to you who just met you or just heard about your name. They don't have any attraction to, intense attraction like that car they really want. So in that scenario, by the way, you definitely bring down all that sales stuff. I just sit there and listen and just go with the flow. But what I'm talking about today is really designed if you're in a business where it's low volume, high margin, high trust deals. That's the space where trust-based selling aces the game.
So your method has a very specific customer avatar that this works for. Low volume,
Correct.
high ticket,
High margin, high ticket, and high trust. Like, for instance, a consultant, an advisor, an entrepreneur with a high ticket product or software, it's expensive. Anything that requires a relationship with someone long term at a higher price point, this just kicks ass.
Yeah. So for my venture capital buddies who are, meeting with LPs all day and they have to ask for that $1 million check, they would
be all over this. This is their lifeline.
All right, let's have some fun there. All right, you and me, we're hanging out with some of our VC buddies, and we're going to go get a cup of coffee. There's no doctors there because doctors don't do coffee, but we're hanging out with our VC buddies, and he's about to meet with an LP and ask for $1 million check, right? And you get a few minutes to kind of coach them and say, hey, before you pitch like you did before, maybe try this. What would you tell that person?
I'd say, first of all, stop pitching. Stop pitching. Remove the word pitch from your vocabulary. That's like sales negative 101. Pitching? I know it's vernacular that you guys use. I know it's the pitch. I know it's sort of like accepted jargon in your industry. But let me tell you right now, pitching is you selling to them. That's what a pitch is. And that immediately debunks what I'm trying to do here, is help people understand you don't have to pitch your solution as long as you can basically help them understand that their problem they have is what the fit is with your solution. You let them, with breadcrumbs, find you and have them go, man, how can you help me? See, it's the reverse. See, we're so used to showing up and just going, hey, let me give you my pitch. I talked to a guy the other couple of days ago, a potential prospect, and he's like, can I show you my pitch first? I'm like, are you kidding me? Pulls up this slide deck. I'm like, this is like 1970s. Stop selling. Let's just talk. He's so wired this way. But anyways, what I coach them on is this. I'd say, look, what you have to do is you have to know what are their 2 or 3 core problems they want to solve. And then what you have to do is you have to have some questions ready to go to help them understand the gravity of their problem, the impact of not solving it. Then what you have to do from there is create what I call a sales roadmap, a visual tool that walks them through why working with you can solve their problem. But you let them buy you. Stop selling yourself, because you sound like a sales guy. You're commoditizing yourself. Unless you're okay with the numbers game, but I'm not into that. See, in our world, we're about 100% converting every single person that's the right fit. So we don't burn any leads. We don't do any behaviors that associate us with that stereotype. I'll give you an example of a classic. I'm going to ask all your listeners right now to remove one key phrase from the vocabulary forever as of today, post Ari, and never, ever use it again in your sales life. Now, if you've been in sales for a long time, this might hurt just a bit. Okay.
I'm scared.
I'm gonna ask everyone to never again use the phrase follow up ever again in your career. What's the only industry that says, hi, I'm giving you a call to follow up? Who does that?
Sales
people. And here we are. And we also, you remember this? Here's some other, remember the other ones? Like, I'm giving you a call to check in, to circle back. All these classic like lines. And the minute you say to someone, hi, I'm calling to follow up in our last meeting, they're like, oh God, now he's trying to follow up to move things where? Towards his goal. Here's what you say instead. You say this, you say, I'm giving you a call to see if you have any feedback on our previous conversation, any feedback on our last meeting, any feedback on the proposal, any feedback on the, see, feedback's going which direction? The opposite, away from the sale. Follow-up's going where? Towards the sale. The minute you attempt to move things forward with people, you're placing momentum on them. When you place momentum on your prospects, they feel pressure from you. Your goal is to remove the pressure, remove the resistance, so you can take the path of least resistance. And I know this is quite contrarian today, and I appreciate you letting me say my truth here, but when you understand that we're the ones who are the problem, think about it. They got a problem, you got a solution.
Yeah.
Straight line of sight, right? Like it's pretty, but what's the middle of that? Us. We fumble the ball, we do all the, hey, checking in, follow up. We play these games and they're like, okay, now I gotta pull back. I gotta hold back just enough to keep myself preserved without. That's the game that we get stuck in unconsciously.
Mm. Hmm. All right. So what I'm trying to think through is I got a job back in the day at a call center, right? Oh gosh, that's terrible, by the way. Hated it. But I had a baby and I needed diapers. So I did it. And here's a list, make 100 calls a day, right? Oh, it's terrible, right? Here's a script. Oh gosh. I mean, I want to jump out of my window just thinking about that. It was brutal, right? So as I'm going through this process, everything was, I'm just checking in. Hey, moving towards, and we have pipeline stages like up on our board, right? So it's like, oh, cool. How many people do you have in this stage of your pipeline? And it's just, everything is, all the CRMs are built with
moving exactly. The whole industry is about moving someone from step A to step B. That's the goal. And we use every technique, every behavior we can to do that. And my whole flip is that they will move forward on their own, right in front of you, if you just step away from your goal, be present, and dive into their world, and be authentic about their problem, and let go of the game. It's a magical moment when they say this to you. They say, Josh, how can you help me?
Yeah,
it's a profound moment. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a profound moment. Continue with that, because
it's a profound moment when you realize you can release yourself of the hype, of the pressure, of the wall you have to carry with you on your back to pursue, to push through, to make that deal happen. So see, we're used to resistance, you see. That's why people are taught, hey, you got to be tough. You got to, don't give up, keep going. We feel like it's a fight. It's because we trigger the, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
This happened to me recently. This is a great example of what I mean, getting the truth and knowing where you stand with people so don't play the numbers game. Recently, I had someone call my office. They got through my team. They got to me. Phone rang, unscheduled call, which is unusual for me. I picked the phone up and I heard Mr. Galper. I go, yeah, my name is John Johnson, and I'm with XYZ company. You recognize them, they're a huge company. And hey, we're looking to bring someone into our company to change our whole sales system and our whole philosophy, given the way the world's changed. We're looking at you and two other people right now. We'd like to know, first of all, why should we go with you? Why are you the best? And give me your best sales pitch.
This is fun. Okay. I'm going to try and guess. Okay. So give me what were the questions again? I'm going to try to guess how you respond.
Yeah, he literally says, so look, we'd like to know, first of all, why should we go with you? And why you're the best at what you do? And give me your best sales pitch.
Wow. All right. I'm going to take a stab at this. Do you mind?
Go for it.
All right.
How would you handle it the Ari way?
The Ari way. I like that. That should be the Ari way. So I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. What size shoe do you wear, by the way?
I think 12.
Okay, so you got bigger shoes than me. So I'm going to put myself in your shoes. I think I'd say something like, if I were you. Okay, so were you expecting this call or no?
No, it was like a fluke, and they're a big company, so it's a big brand.
I'd say, man, well, thanks for calling. Like, tell me, man, like, how'd you find out about me? Like, I know you guys are doing some cool things. How'd you find out about me? Like,
I got your name from XYZ company.
Okay, so you got my name. Cool. Like, what, tell me a little bit about what are you guys trying to fit? Man, I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to like not sell them something.
See what you're
so
trying
hard.
to do. See what you're trying to do right now, because that's all you know to do,
Yeah.
You're trying to circle around what just happened.
Yeah.
You're trying to find a clever way to get around, to avoid the answer. And
Yeah.
from what you know, I understand. So let me kind of give you the black belt level. Okay.
Yeah. Teach me, sensei.
Sure. Here we go. So guy says, why should I go with you? Give me your best pitch. And we like to know why, and here's what happened. Here's what I said to him. I said, first of all, I took a deep breath because I'm a human being too. They're a big company. I got calm. I got centered. I lowered my voice and I said this to him. I said, well, isn't that interesting? And I paused for a couple of seconds. And then I said this to him. I said, over here at our company, we have a very similar process to you where we ask a couple of questions, gather some information to see if we're a good fit. And if we're a good fit, we kind of decide where to go from there. I said to him, would you be open to that?
I love that question. Yeah.
Next thing on the phone, I hear nothing. Dead silence. I'm like, oh shit, is he still there? Is he still there? Then I felt the breath, like he breathed, like he just sigh, like came out. He just like a relief came from him. I could tell he lowers his shoulders. He becomes human, like a human being again. He lowers his voice. He says this to me. He says, okay, what kind of questions do you have for me?
Now you're having a conversation, not a pitch.
Yeah, next thing I discover within 5 minutes, 1, he's not a decision maker. 2, he has no budget. And 3, he's just curious as to what I do. And after 5 minutes, off he went to my website for some free stuff. I hung up the phone. Now, what did that process just save me months of?
Saves you back and forth and pitching and getting all excited and spending the money before it gets there and telling, buying your wife something cool and all those things, right?
Chasing, pursuing, hopium drug. Yeah. Woohoo! I got the call. I'm so excited. Inbound. Woohoo! You know how we get so caught up in that? And we never get to the truth. And that's my whole process. Is your goal is not to make the sale. Your goal is to get the truth of whether you're fit or not. And you got to get out of the game. See, he was in the game. He wanted me to start dancing. Oh, let me tell you what I do. Hey, look what I got. I'm the best. See, that's the game we're all caught up in. You see, if you're not aware of that, you're sleepwalking through it. You're going to be sucked into it like a vortex. And you go, oh shit, how did I get here? And then what happens? You call them back, right? And they're like, they get their voicemail like, what? He's not even, I can't get a hold of him. And so you do next, you go to your computer and you write a note, an email, you write, hi, I'm writing you to
follow up.
Ding, 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 ding. No. And then we get sucked into that numbers game and you're like, oh man, this sale sucks.
Yeah. All right. So this is cool. By the way, I just bought, we're going to do 500 of these interviews, Ari. While we were talking, because I have a short-term memory, I went and I just bought your Audible book on Amazon or audible.com. Unlock the Sales Game. That's the name of your book, right? Because just that, how many times I've chased people, the numbers game, right? Like we know it's a numbers game, right? Or that's the lie we've been living, and we've just been chasing, and I'm good at it. Well, I mean, I sucked in this example, but I'm pretty good at it. We're doing well, but man, we could really sharpen up. Now, let me ask you this question.
Real quick. See what's happened. You've built up a muscle and a strength to pursue the numbers game. I mean, you're doing well, but what you're not realizing is it's not about when you say, well, it's not about how much you're making. It's about how much you're losing. It's all the losses that are occurring because of focusing on the numbers game. That's where the magic is here. All the money that's sitting in your pipeline that you're pursuing, which may or may not be there. See, if you flip the model and it's less volume and higher conversion, you can double your business right away without any more marketing.
Yeah. So now we have, this is embarrassing, right? So as a sales manager or sales leader, right? Like I'm working with other people and, either working with them on sales or helping them, right? So, and I guess I'm not doing as good as I could. How do you how do you keep track? How do you have accountability? Like if you're managing someone and you're responsible for sales numbers, how do you do that when
Great.
you're not?
That's a great question, because we're taught conventionally to measure based on behaviors.
Mm.
How many calls you made this week? How many demos you had this week? How many meetings you had this week? See, we're taught to measure these milestones that fit into what we believe is the goal, which is to move them to a next step. So we're managing from that perspective, but it's not about those behaviors anymore. It's about how good they are at trust building inside the conversation. Meaning, so if I was like, what I do with my clients is I have them bring me their recorded sales calls. They play the tape live with me, and I listen to their conversations, and I say, stop the tape, stop the tape. Right there, you jumped in too early. Like, oh my God, you're right. Right there, you raised. See, the sale is not lost or made based on the movement of those deals in the pipeline. They're lost inside the conversation. And no one knows how to go in the conversation and analyze where they're being lost. That's where all your money's sitting, in the actual conversations. If you played me a tape right now of one of your people making those sales calls, or I would probably cringe.
Me too.
But you might go, hey, they did pretty good. They got a next step. Awesome, guys. High five. Yeah, yeah. Because we've been trained to believe it's about the movement of the deal.
Yeah. Oh man, you're reading my journal. But okay, so then how do I create a plan for, groups like maybe one of our portfolio groups that we're working with, and we're trying to help them bump up revenue, right? Because my money's tied in it and I'm compensated by it, right? Like, so how do I create accountability, or how do I create,
Well, first thing you have to do,
yeah.
well, I might need to help you here, but first thing we have to do is we got to shift your team's mindset. We got to go through transformation with them here, not give them a few more tips. We got to help them think differently. This is a transformational shift. This isn't a few more tips to make them better. This is to show them why they're losing more than they're making. Help them understand what they're doing wrong, which they don't think they are, because they've been caught up in the typical sales thing, which is, hey, man, I got deals pending. Yeah, hey, give me some more, baby. Let's do it. High five. Like, see, they're used to the numbers game and that whole conditioning as normal. Mm-hmm. See, what has to happen, we have to kind of help them understand that they got to shift their thinking to understand their own behaviors are doing unconsciously is causing them to play this sales game and losing opportunity. So a lot of the first shift I work with people is shift their thinking by taking them through a process like we're doing right now, for them to go, holy crap. And then what they do is they try, like, they change a few things, like they don't use follow-up. They use the word feedback. They're like, Ari, I tried that and it worked. It was so crazy. They wouldn't stop talking. Then they try things like, hey, where do you think we should go from here? And all of a sudden the guy's like, let's move forward. Like, oh my God, I even tried this. Like, they try a few of my little language tips and they go, man, this is amazing. Just no effort. And then we move them to a next step, which is deep dive, would call in-deal coaching, where they bring the recordings. And I go, try this next time. So we give them little nuggets and they go, this shit actually works. Oh my God. What this whole time? So you got to kind of show them a way to do it better, but not make them feel bad, but like give them some ways to improve their game. And that's what we do.
Yeah. Low volume, high margin, high trust. This is where your program works best. It's not
long
like
sales cycles. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we shorten the sales cycle. I'm working on a new book next year called The One Call Sale.
Ooh, that'd be pretty cool. Even for big deals like, venture capital, raising capital, commercial real estate, one call close kind of thing.
Well, it's not like you're gonna get a signed contract on one close. Obviously, there's due diligence and all that stuff, but right. You will get a verbal, yes, we want to move forward.
I can't wait to, when you release that book, we'll get you back on this show. Let's talk about, so just remember that, because I have a short-term memory. No for the book that I just bought on Audible, Unlock the Sales Game. Like, what inspired you to write a book, right? So I assume you're a consultant and a coach, right? So you work with groups on improving sales process and unlocking the sales game for them, right? Like, what inspired you to write a book rather than just kind of do it for others?
Because no one believed me. No one believed this is possible. No one's like, you can't let go of the sale and still make the sale. That sounds counterintuitive. You can't see. I had to prove to people this is for real. So like, when I do live events and live trainings, I make live sales calls in the room to their own prospects they can't reach. And I call for them to their own prospects. I move things forward in my way to prove. See, I can't just talk about this. People are like, yeah, this guy's a bowl of, full of crap. That's not. I've got to prove myself. I got to work harder than anybody else in the game because no one believes it's possible. So I had to write that book to prove it's for real. And I got to make live calls in front of audiences to show them it's possible. I'm famous for that.
We should do that like on a podcast show. So like we should make cold calls or call up prospects or whatever. That'd be fun. Holy moly. All right. Can you walk us through an example of that, right? We could role play it here or whatever, or you could just, kind of share the story. So you're up on stage and someone.
I'll give you a story. I'll tell you a story of mine that happened to me live. Okay. It's about 4 or 5 years ago. I brought back to the US, did a big sales team, huge room, like 500 salespeople, and I was brought in from Australia and I did a day with them. About lunchtime, I'm doing my thing like I'm doing right now. In the room, in the corner, there's 4 or 5 guys in the corner room like this. I saw them over there, like bunched up, and I could tell there's always groups of guys in the room like that. Always someone there,
arms crossed, furrowed brow.
They're saying, "Who does this guy think he is?"
Yeah,
I've been in this game for 20 years. There's nothing new. I've aced this. And there's always someone that always in a group somewhere, and I'm aware of this. I'm very aware of this. So I said, guys, before we go to lunch, we're going to do one more thing. We're going to make live sales calls in the room right now to your toughest prospects you can't reach. The whole room's like, what? What? I said, now don't worry. You're not going to make live sales calls in the room. Guess who's going to make those calls? Me. You bring me right now your toughest deals you can't reach, and I'll make a live call in this. And I pull the phone hidden behind the table, and I slammed it down. And I said, we're going to make live calls on this phone. It's pre-wired in the whole room right now. So bring me one up right now and I'll make a call. They're like, what? One guy goes like, you can't do that. You don't even work here. You don't know our servers, our technology. You don't know our product line. I said, it's not about your solution, guys. It's about the problems you help people solve. You start there, you're fine. And they were like frozen. And one guy gets up, he walks down the aisle, kind of heavyset guy, he's kind of limping. He's like, I got one for you. I said, what do you have for me? He says, I'm what's called a win-back rep. My job is to win back old clients we lost over time. I've got 10 per year, each worth 7 figures. If I close one deal a year, I'm golden over here. I said, what do you have for me? He goes, last year we lost a huge deal. This big company, we make laptops and they're waiting for our new laptop to arrive to give it to salespeople. It was the first order we got. And the box shipped offshore, and it just bad news. The box came destroyed. I mean, the laptops were broken, glass everywhere. It was just bad shipment. They were so mad at us, they cut the whole contract off. We lost the whole account on that one shipment. And my job is to win them back. For the last 8 months, I've been trying to do this. The problem is I can't get past the
gatekeeper.
Yeah. I tried everything. I've tried to go through her, around her, trick her, date her. I've tried everything possible and nothing's working, Ari. So here you go. You give her a call. I said, no problem. Let me have her number, name, went over the phone, to the dial tone. It lit up the whole room because the audio like turned on. They're like, holy crap, this guy's going to do it. I said, shh, please keep it down. It's a live call. So I dialed the number live in the room. They're all real quiet. The phone rings and guess who picks it up?
The gatekeeper.
Her name's Linda.
Hey, Linda.
And I proceeded to say this. I said, hi, Linda. My name's Ari. I'm with XYZ company, their company. And here it is. And I'm hoping you can help me out for a moment. That's all I said. And she says, as expected, how can I help you? And I said this, I just want to give you a call on behalf of myself and my company for only one reason only, and that is this, to apologize for what happened last year when you shipped out the box to your team and the whole thing came in bad shape and you're upset with us and you cut the contract. I'm sure it was a horrible experience for everyone involved. And I just simply wanted to call to sincerely apologize for that entire experience. That's the only reason why I'm calling. And she says, well, let me tell you, I was there. I opened the boxes myself. I couldn't believe it. She starts talking and talking and talking. It was like a dam opened up and like a flood just came. She went just not stop talking. And she says, oh, and I'm the key person in the deal to bring this back, to get this thing alive again with you guys. The whole room's like, what the hell? He's trying to go through her the whole time. It turns out
she's the key person.
She's the core person. And she kind of comes full circle at the end. And she kind of calms down. And I said, look, I just wanted to apologize. And it sounds like a horrible experience that happened. And I truly apologize for that. And I said to her, would you be open to the possibility of us healing old wounds, to begin again fresh, to build trust again in a new way? Would you be open to that? That's all I said to her. And she says, sure, that sounds good. Here it comes. Why don't we go ahead and schedule a conference call and move this thing forward? Next thing I know, she's rattling off Zoom numbers and conference calls. She's excited. VP name. Give me your notebook. I'm writing down all these names, conference call dates. She's like excited. I'm like, well, it'll be myself or my colleague, John. One of us be on the call. Is that okay? She's like, yeah, it doesn't matter who's there. I'm going back home. She's like, that's fine. She's just scheduling the call, ready to move things forward. We're about to say our goodbyes. And she says one more thing to me. You know what she says to me? She says, thank you for being the only person in your company who actually apologized and listened to me. We hung up the phone. The whole room went nuts. Like, you know, the wave in the room like that. They have the shoulders like a football game. Passed me around like I hit the goal. Like they had never in their entire lives experienced what it's like to stop selling and build human trust. And I got to go in a couple seconds, but that is the essence of what's possible if you work with us in this way.
Man, super cool. So as we're, you know, I just bought your book. I encourage, you know, I'm going to listen to it. You know, people in the audience and people connected with me could go through the book with me and we could chat about it. What's a good way for people to connect with you and maybe do a deal with you? Talk to us.
Best thing is go to unlockthegame.com. It's like it sounds, unlockthegame.com. My books are there. I've got a free intro course there. Reach out to us. Also, I'm very accessible on LinkedIn. Connect with me there. Make a note that you met me here. I do a show once a month called Stump the Guru, where you can jump on live and give me your toughest sales challenge and try and knock me off the mountain there for fun. It's a fun show. But reach out to me on LinkedIn, say hello, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Fellow deal makers listening in, as always, reach out to our guests, say thanks for being on the show. If what they said sounds interesting, find a way to connect with them and do a deal with them. All their contact information will be in the show notes below. Reach out to our guests, say you heard them on the Deal Scout, and you know, let's do a deal. If you're working on something, a deal, looking for a deal and want to, you know, maybe chat about it here on the show, head on over to thedealscout.com, fill out a quick form, maybe get you on the show next. Till then, talk to you all next episode. See ya.